If you're curious about all the technical details about having an EarthRoamer, today I'm going to go through everything you would possibly want to know and probably a lot more about our EarthRoamer, starting with the truck front and going to the camper shell in the back. The wheelbase of the vehicle is 17 feet. However, the overall length of the vehicle is 29 feet if you don't include the exterior boxes or any bike racks. The height of the EarthRoamer is 12 feet. Because you have a few different things on the roof, you want to give enough clearance to be able to go under trees without hitting branches. The width of the vehicle is 8 feet wide. The EarthRoamer is built on the Ford F550 Super Duty truck with the Lariat trim. This Ford F550 has the 6.7 liter turbo diesel engine with 330 horsepower and 750 pounds of torque. And fully loaded with all the tanks full, this truck weighs in at over 18,000 pounds. This truck is paired with a 6-speed automatic transmission to make driving a lot easier. On the front, there is the Baja Designs light bar and then Baja Designs auxiliary lights on the sides as well. The nice thing is you could configure these with different color lenses, and then you could go amber color or white. So we're actually going to change all these to be this kind of yellowish amber color, so it cuts down the glare in snow and dust. And that's really nice about these lights. You don't have to replace the light, you just change the lens. They also all go on based on the high beams on the truck. So the nice thing is you don't have to remember to switch things on or off independently. You just flick the high beams on and everything turns on. These are the only independent controlled ones that are just based on your fog button in the truck itself. On the front here, you have a 16,500 pound Warren winch with a synthetic line and a factor 55. Nice thing is this is remote controlled, or you could plug in if you had to. This is a super capable winch, perfect for getting you out of tight recovery situations when needed. On the rear driver's side, there are these 3 tanks. Comes with the factory tank and then an auxiliary tank that automatically feeds diesel from the auxiliary to the factory. In total, you have 90 gallons of diesel capacity with a roughly 900-mile range, depending on how you're driving. Plus, you have 7.2 gallon DEF tank, so you have plenty of DEF to last that long trip. The usable ground clearance on this vehicle is 12.5 inches, which is to the base of the pumpkin. However, if you're curious about the ground clearance to the body, you have about 27 inches to the bottom of the body of the truck. The tires are a Continental 41-inch tire. They are rated to be able to handle mud, snow, things like that. They also have a speed rating, top speed rating of 68 miles per hour before you start to overheat the tire. So that is something to keep in mind. All 4 corners have air suspension with a controller in the cab and also King remote reservoir off-road shocks. So the nice thing about the way this is set up, there are side steps that are all down the side of the truck. So when you open the door, they fold down electronically. There are also lights built into them so you can see at night, because it is quite a big step up from the ground all the way up into the truck, into the seats. And the nice thing is when you shut the door, they fold back up, so you don't have to worry about hitting them on rocks. They tuck up into the bottom of the body. These allow you to lock the vehicle with like a metal bolt that goes through them. So if you're storing this for a long period of time, it's really nice to be able to lock it so the doors can't be opened. And they're on all the doors on the truck and also on the back camper as well. So there are a bunch of these air chucks in convenient locations. It makes basically refilling your tires, paddle boards, bicycles, anything you need to use these for really easy. And there's a built-in air compressor to the vehicle with an air tank as well. The vehicle does have to be running for those to work. Right here is the 30 amp hookup. So to use this, you just unscrew it once and then you're able to hook this up to shore power. So if you're storing the vehicle in like a garage environment where the solar panels are blocked, this is really helpful. If it's sitting outside, the solar generates so much power that you don't need to use the shore power. On the roof, there are 4 330 watt solar panels totaling 1,320 watts of total solar. So under here is a giant battery compartment that has 12,000 watt hours of battery. And this is all Line-X coated, which makes it super durable and texturized. So if you do scrape it on like tree branches or things like that, it's not going to scrape up the side components. So the least luxurious part about living in an RV like the EarthRoamer is dumping your own toilet. So in here, there's a 5-gallon tank, which is your black tank for your cassette toilet. We have the key to open it up to make sure that no one, of course, steals your poop. Here's the 5-gallon black water tank, and then it just slides out. When you do pull it out, you're usually at a dump site and you can rinse it off and make it all clean again. When you're done, you could just lock it up, push that in, pop it shut, and you're good to go. So on the back of the EarthRoamer, we have quite the setup here. So this is actually mounted into the hitch of the vehicle, but the hitch could tow up to 10,000 pounds on this vehicle with the camper on it. So let's start here with the bike rack, because honestly, this was one of the main things I tried to figure out, being able to take all my bicycles on our travels. This is a 1UP Super Duty bike rack. This is actually the 4-position one that I have mounted, and I took one of the position ones off. So I'll show you why when we pop the box open. But overall configuration where it sits is I can fit 5 bicycles on the back of this EarthRoamer. So we have the 1UP 2-inch hitch extender going right to the rack. And then the nice thing about this is without bikes in the rack, we can open these and we could clear the whole rack setup. And on top of that, if we want to open a box, we can pull that down. One thing with this rack setup is you have to put the handle back that way, and then they clear perfectly on the rack without touching. So that's really amazing. These boxes are all really easy to open. They're handles, and then they just swing out on pivot arms or pivot points on the bumper. And then back here, we have all these storage components. So on the bottom, there's this long storage bin, which pops down. And this is great for like skis or other long gear. We have chairs, actually a full like bike stand in here folded up. Plus this is where your spare tire changing kits and stuff are as well. On the back here, we did 4 MaxTrax boards and then mounted a spare tire bag on front. So the cool thing about the tire is it actually comes down on a winch because it is so heavy, you can't just lift it off yourself. So in this tall bin, it just opens up like this. There's a step here that comes out electronically when you open the door. You have the winch controllers and then the axe. And then back here, you have tons of storage. And this actually goes wider than this edge. It goes all the way to the edge of this spare tire here. So you can stick your hand in here and see how deep it actually is. This is all texturized back here, and it's great for putting things that are gonna get dirty and that aren't like your inside gear. So the box on the left, the really cool thing about these boxes and a lot of the components on this setup is that everything's controlled by the factory 4 key fob as far as unlocking and locking. You could do it manually too, but you don't have to. This bin is fully empty and it's a really big storage bin. So we actually have 2 rolled up power boards in here, and they fit perfectly with all of our other like wet gear that just needs to dry out. In the other bin here, we have this table right here on the top. We actually show how that works in another video we'll link to at the top here. And then on the inside, we have this barbecue, and then we have these storage bins here. And then we have this cook setup here. Again, same video with the barbecue is where you'll find all the details on this. It's really cool. We tested out in Hood River and had a lot of fun with it. On the rear passenger side, right back here next to the camper door, is this compartment basically, which has the outdoor shower. On the outdoor shower, there is the shower head that pulls out on this hose, and then there is a hot cold faucet, and then you could turn on and have different levels of water pressure as well. So to put it back, you just kind of feed it back in. This shower, because it is on the outside of the vehicle, does need to be winterized in winter. You can't just leave it on all year round. But in the summer, it's really great to be able to use that outdoor shower. Right back here, this silver piece unscrews, and there is a cable in the back that allows you to hook up your like computer charger or anything else you want outdoors. So that's really handy if you're working outside under the awning. Right back here, this is your freshwater refill, and this is an 85-gallon freshwater tank, and then there is a 26-gallon gray water tank as well. So the easiest way to do this is just connect up the hose and then let it fill up. It takes a little while, depending on how much water pressure you have coming out of your hose. When you open the camper door, the stairs electronically come out, and when you shut it, they go back in. So if we want to use the awning, there's a switch right here where we could flip the switch and the awning comes out. It clears the door, but if it's super windy, it might bounce off the door. So depending on the conditions, you might want to shut it. Under the awning, there's lighting, which is also dimmable as well. And again, it's super easy to retract. You just push the button and it comes back in. The windows are acrylic windows. Actually, we plan to change these out to the glass panel versions instead. These are nice big panels that go on both sides of the vehicle. And right above it, we have exterior lighting, which is dimmable. It's bright white, and it's on both the driver's side, passenger side, and the rear. So it's really great at camp to be able to light up the campsite and make it super bright if needed. The inside of the truck is what you expect in a Ford truck, basically a standard layout with a few custom changes for EarthRoamer. So down here is the custom EarthRoamer panel with a few key things. The first thing is this is the leveling for the air suspension and the adjustments. On the air system, the nice thing is there's 3 different modes. There's one, which is basically like if you're at camp or you want to drop it down low. 2, which is standard driving, and then 3, so if you're trying to get over something that's kind of tall, then you could raise it up beyond that. The nice thing too about this is you could adjust every corner independently. So if you want to adjust the front driver's side tire, you could do that. So as you're at camp, you can level everything out, or you could do axle by axle independently as well. So lots of adjustability. This is the piece that basically shows you your different fuel tank levels. And this shows you all the camper control systems like your battery, your fresh water, gray water, things like that. Up here, we bolted a custom mount on. So this is where our Garmin Overlander sits. And then this bolts into the dash and this sits right here. So it's nice and secure as we drive. So up at the top, you have all the controls for your off-road lights, your FLIR infrared camera, and your backup camera that if you flip those switches, it actually changes the forward screen to show those camera feeds. In the back of the EarthRoamer, we opted to pull out the captain's chairs that it comes with and have them custom build the dog platform for us. So the really cool thing about the dog platform is it gives you additional storage underneath for all sorts of gear that you might need. You can see that it does get fairly hairy. This material, that's just the carpet material, does collect dog hair, but you could clean that off. So these laundry bins are really nice because they just hook to the headrest, and then you could just unzip them at the bottom, and then it empties out all your laundry gear. Just drop a comment below and ask about, and we're happy to share links. Over on that side, you can see that one of the dog platforms is missing, so we're actually having that built at the moment. We're getting that put in, but you can see the height difference too, and how the floor has that kind of curve and on the back. So what this does really well is it makes everything flat and level for the dogs, so you could fit a couple nice dog beds right on the top here and make them comfortable. Since the dogs stay in the back seats, the back seats don't stay quite as warm or cool as the rest of the camper because that's where all the heating and AC is. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to insulate the only piece of the front cab that wasn't insulated, which are the windows, to keep them more climatized to the back, even with the pass-through open, and then also to black out all the lights so they could sleep in if they decide they want to. So we had these window covers custom made for all the windows in the forward part of the vehicle. So they just slide in, and then the nice thing is you could have them folded down, or you could pop them like this and tuck them fully in, where it completely blacks out all the windows. So we have one for each door and the windshield. So at night, we could completely black out any light on the EarthRoamer, and top of that, these are fully insulated to keep it warmer or cooler. We have a full in-depth detailed tour of the camper itself, which we'll link to above. And make sure you stay tuned for next week's video, which is a 9-day adventure where we go from Oregon to Arizona, full of really amazing stops and scenic adventures.